Last week on Film Fights.
Guys, this is missed opportunity. Rookie of the Year could have become an Air Bud-like franchise where he's just doing all the different sports.
He's just in terrible luck with breaking his arm for some reason. Just terrible luck with limbs.
Like every movie.
He's like, oh, my hip's broken. Now he's a fucking sumo wrestler.
Oh, my ankle broke. Guess what? Now you're good at curling.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I broke my finger. Now I'm the pinball wizard.
And JP, how cute was that kid?
I didn't like that kid at
You
all.
didn't like that kid? Oh, he was adorable.
You like how he kept looking at the camera like,
It was the same kid from Scrooged who does the God Bless Us Everyone, and I hated him in that movie too.
That wasn't the same kid.
Was it not?
No.
They wanted to write this review, this anonymous user. 5 stars. There are angels in the outfield. End of review. This person's like, this movie delivered exactly what it advertised.
I had one expectation. Done.
5 stars.
Checked off.
And now for the home run conclusion of Baseball Kids on Film Fights. So it's now.
Hello, lovely spectators, and welcome to a special mini episode of Film Fights. I am your fearless host, Jono Rodriguez, and with me, of course, is my spittoon-having, baseball bat-wielding, baseball shirt-having, but not wearing. He didn't want to get it wrinkled or dirty when he plays out there. You know, he likes to keep it hung up, nice and iron, looks good. You know, he takes photos with it, like not just by himself, but with other people. Like, hey, do you want to take a photo with me and my shirt? If you just want the shirt, it costs extra. I gotta be in the picture too. Konrad Hartman. Hey, Konrad, how's it going?
Hey, well, it's the top of the 9th and all the bases are ready. And here we are. It's time for baseball.
You're not fooling anyone. You don't know what you're talking about.
Fair enough.
Where's Jamie when we need him?
I know. It was fun having him last week, but today it's classic film fighters with a very special Singlie. You know, normally here on Film Fights, which I'm sure Jono would have asked me in a moment had I given him the chance.
No, it's all you. You're spinning with your own wings.
What we do here is we pick 2 movies, we pit them against one another in a brutal grudge match, and one of them comes out on top to reign supreme. But of course, this is a Singlie episode coming off the heels, nice and hot, of our last baseball frolic, Rookie of the Year versus Angels in the Outfield. Today, we're going to be taking another stroll through memory lane where it's nice and warm and the kids are playing stickball and the adults are playing drinkball. That's right.
You mean beer pong?
We were not bright. We always just called it drinkball.
Hey, man, speak for yourself.
Yeah, anytime you get it in, they take a drink. Every time you don't get it in, you take a drink.
You said the same thing.
When you stand there, you take a drink.
When you're bored, you take a drink.
That's right. Drink ball.
Yeah. If you forget whose turn it was, you take a drink.
If you remember whose turn it was, take a drink.
And if the other person forgot whose turn it was, remove cups from the table in your favor.
We're, of course, talking about the Sandlot.
No, not the parking lot where I drink.
Did you ever watch Stand By Me and think, man, I really wish this didn't have all that cool dead body stuff in it? Well, folks, the Sandlot is for you.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's like some implied dead bodies because the story that Squints tells about the dog eating people.
Well, it's assumed there's dead bodies because there were older people in it, and the movie came out a long time ago. So we're gonna assume that they're dead.
We're doing the Sandlot. This is a classic baseball kids movie. Now, what's interesting is that I hold this movie dear to my heart. I've been watching it since it came out. I was a tiny boy who wished I was
Go on.
I wish I was a Smalls because I had no friends. and hey, the movie makes it seem like, oh, all you have to do is just be a nerd in front of people and they'll like you. Nope, they will shun you. But I watch it all the time. It was great. I loved it. And my wonderful co-host, Konrad, this is your first time watching this movie. How is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's crazy is of all the times I've just sat at home and watched TV when I was a kid, I can't believe I didn't accidentally watch this movie.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I mean, I know you're younger than me.
Yeah, by not very much.
We got that generation gap, you know.
That's right.
You were watching. I was watching The Wonder Years, and you were watching Alex Mack.
That's right. Oh wow, that's very. Wait, you Wonder Years?
Yeah, that's a little too far back. I admit.
There I was watching cave paintings. And you were watching the Jetsons in real life happening.
Watching my favorite show, Matlock, and you were watching Columbo. Like, we were so far apart. We watched nothing else after that.
Yeah, I mean, this movie got quoted to me a lot, and I wasn't trying to avoid it. I really don't know. And I think it's one of those things when something becomes such a part of the culture that you feel like you have seen it.
Oh, yeah.
That I assumed that I had seen it and it had been a long time, but then watching it, I was like, I definitely have not seen this.
Yeah.
I was thinking of The Big Green.
Ew.
Well, because it's got that same
stupid
that same kid in it.
Kid playing the same role, basically. Yeah. Sometimes when something's like in the cultural zeitgeist, if you will, you kind of just know it. Like I, for one, I didn't actually watch the original Star Wars trilogy, A New Hope through Jedi.
Here we go.
Well, I hadn't actually seen it until I was like in my 20s because I just assumed I'd seen it because I've seen like all the parody movies. I've seen, I watched, shows that reference it or whatever.
Gwars, where they had a bunch of metal rock bands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Gwars.
Yeah.
Look, I'm your brother.
Yeah, it's the only George Lucas movie with a bunch of menstrual blood.
Oh, it's the second one after Star Wars Holiday Special. Don't watch that movie; your eyes will bleed.
Instead of Ewoks, it just had a bunch of little Aussies. Endor.
No, that's just how they all communicate. Yeah. So like, I'd imagine a chorus of them going, "Oh, Sharon." And then some of them get killed.
Princess Leia's like,
"What is it, Aussie?"
Wait, she's Princess Leia is Sharon?
Hey, listen, I didn't write the damn thing.
Right? Yeah, that's true. I shouldn't be hurling the book at you. I should be reading the Book of Sandlot. Now, this movie...
You could have said throwing the baseball at me.
Yeah, I don't play baseball, do I?
Oh, yeah, neither did this kid until his friend felt sorry for him and became his friend.
Complete stranger.
Right.
So in classic movie trope of opening narration as adult, he explains, we just moved to this place and everyone hates me because I'm the new kid and also I look kind of dorky. I'm wearing a fucking hat that's like ridiculous. What is this hat, man?
The bill of this hat was no exaggeration, like a foot long coming from his hat. Like it's like what you wear when you're on the sun trying to... hide the sun.
It's the hat the sun would wear.
Oh, that's right, with his sunglasses.
He's like, I am just too hot right now. And yeah, this thing is like, it could take your eye out if you like just turned his head for a second. Like, hey, Smalls, ow!
And that's why they wanted to be friends with him. They're like, a kid with a hat like that, he knows the score. He can get us out of a tight spot.
Yeah, and they had dollar signs appear in their eyes.
We can't afford to buy baseball hats, so we can all just huddle underneath it like it's an awning. Get away from this hot California sun or wherever.
Or maybe it's just a regular hat, but every time he lies, it gets bigger. He's like, I'm a really cool kid.
This is my Capnocchio.
And his parents, Dennis Leary, which I think this might be his only kids movie role. He does not say asshole once.
Yeah, right. He doesn't smoke a single cigarette, I don't think.
He doesn't talk fast. You know?
That's why I only had like 6 lines. They were like, this is the maximum amount Dennis Leary can be on stage and not say, these stupid motherfuckers.
He actually had no lines. All of that was improvised.
All of them were ADR. They were all dubbed in after by a Dennis Leary impersonator.
So Dennis Leary, he plays the stepdad, and it's weird how the film portrays him, because, like, you know, when I was a kid, I was just like, oh, you know, this character, he's not important, because they're not showing him as a bad guy, and they're not showing him as a good guy.
Right.
He's just integral. I mean, James Earl Jones' role is more integral to the story than his stepdad is. But he does, as an adult watching it, I'm like, he does kind of come off as like a bad stepdad, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, he's not the kid's real parent, so he's not important, but
which is what the movie correctly
portrays. No, I actually had this in my notes. It was the 1960s. Family dynamics were way different. Like, he was like, all right, now you go ahead and do the dishes while I'm gone, honey, my wife, and then smacks her on the behind, and he's like, I'm going to go have some hookers and old fashions. It was just a different time.
Just going down to the hooker store.
Want me to pick you up anything?
I could use some hangers.
I'm going to need to take some hangers with me to the hooker shop, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
Oh, well, we'll talk later.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm just saying, different time.
Different time.
You know, he teaches his kid to play catch by hurling a baseball at him as hard as he can, so the kid's eyeball almost goes into his skull.
Yeah, he gets a black eye. He puts a steak on it.
Here, put a steak on it, and you owe me for that steak.
You owe me for that steak. Yeah, and is it really more difficult to get ice? They both come from the same spot that he went to. He went to the fridge. He's like, just the steak is fine.
So there is a scientific reason why you use meat, actually, instead of ice when you have a black eye. It's because it smells so tasty.
Because that eye juice marinade is just like...
Okay. Soft pitch.
Oh, okay.
We market for sportsmen, people, right, who are always getting hurt and needing ice, but they're also always craving protein. We make a kind of reusable ice that's meat scented. It can smell like any kind of meat you want, and for vegans, it can smell like tofu or feet or something, or patchouli,
or just it's just broccoli shavings. Broccoli shaving scent.
Oh, better idea. It'll be frozen in a bag, and then they get hungry. Once they feel better, they can microwave it. Boom, lunch. Oh, that's just a TV dinner. Shit.
Oh my God, that'd be great if he pulled out a TV dinner and just like slapped it on his face.
Ooh, Nighthawk. I love it. Is this Salisbury steak?
Because, see, the swelling actually heats up the dinner.
That's right. It saves energy. We're running out of microwaves, people.
Yeah, well, I mean, microwaves are much more dangerous back then. You tried not to use it.
They basically had a little tiny version of the atomic bomb that they used in Japan, and they explode it every time you...
A little one just explodes every second. That's why they say don't stand in front of one unless you want your shadow burned into the wall behind you. The old radiation king.
You want to hear how I got this 8th leg? Stofers.
See, that's why we have ADHD now, is because our parents you stood in front of the microwave.
What, would you rather wait for 30 minutes for your food like an idiot?
No.
Right.
You had to get to those dishes. Didn't have time.
This guy cared much more about his shrine to Babe Ruth than his stepson, for sure.
Yeah, and he seemed to care more about the shrine than talking about it, because how can a boy who loves baseball live in a house from a baseball-loving man who worshipped Babe Ruth and not know who Babe Ruth is? So
it's very weird.
I never thought about that watching the movie as a kid, But Konrad is like, that is plot hole 1 out of 10. Why would he not know who it is? Oh, yeah, my dad's got a baseball. It's just sitting in a trophy case. Let's use that one.
Yeah, and so you've all seen the movie, so I know I'm kind of jumping around, but in that shrine, there's a baseball signed by Babe Ruth that Smalls, that's the character's name, grabs to take to play baseball with his new friends, and later in the movie, they like gather up enough money to buy a baseball. If they had just done that in the first place,
well, they didn't want to waste time. Well, I mean, they had all after. Wait a minute. They could have.
They had all summer.
Yeah, and they had all day because that was like the first thing because it was still early. It was like 10 a.m. And so they still could have done that because they were like pretty upset they couldn't play. They were like, Benny, you freaking dumb, stupid son of a bitch. I mean, I cleaned up that, by the way. They said some more, time period things. And,
yeah, they were like, you woman.
That's the worst thing you can call someone in 1960. In 1960. Their words.
Their words.
I don't agree with it.
Nope.
But I could not have because I wasn't around at the time. I couldn't be a feminist in 1960. I didn't exist. But yeah, so they could have easily gotten around that. So that's 2 plot holes that we've got. 3 and they're out. Okay, so
that's right. It is a baseball movie after all.
Yeah, and we know that you get 3 and you're done, son. In fact, we just watched 2 baseball movies last week. We know how it goes, I think.
If you miss 3, you gotta pee. You gotta go to the restroom and stay there.
No, if you miss 3, then talk to Mr. McGee. He's in the basement. So there's a dog that lives next door, and now I love the story they build up about this dog because, like, the movie, it's a coming of age kind of movie, but it's also it's like even though it takes place over the summer, but it's in the style of a kind of day in the life of, because there's not like a clear plot. It's just, here's what these kids did, but the conflict is revealed at the end being like, oh, we have to get the ball from the dog. But I love the narrative of this dog being so larger than life, and you don't even act like we, the audience, don't actually get to see the actual dog until like the big reveal at the end. Every time he's portrayed as this giant, like kind of funny looking puppet of this like giant dog.
Yeah.
And it's so hilarious, but this is how the kids see the dog.
Right.
Because, he's behind a fence and they're peeking through a tiny hole. So, of course, this dog looks way more vicious than he actually is. And so when Benny the Jet Rodriguez clears that fence and sees him eye to eye, he's clearly seeing him as, oh, he's just a little poocher. He's just a little poocher, needs a rub on the belly. Oh, he bit my arm off.
Right.
That was a vicious fucking dog.
I mean, this is something that we've talked about in previous episodes about movies when you're looking back on childhood in a film. I also really like that because it's in their memory. We're not seeing it as it happens. We're seeing it as it was perceived by them, or as you remember it being perceived by you many, many years ago. And so that over exaggeration is just part of like being a kid and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I used to be scared of dogs for a long time.
Oh, me too. I've been bitten in the face twice by a dog, and it's not fun.
Yeah,
but it's kind of exciting.
It's kind of like when you do heroin the first time. You're like, this is really scary, but
because like you're bleeding from your face, and you're like, someone take a picture. I'm so hardcore.
Oh, what a rush.
And that dog's like growls and barks and stuff. It reminded me of Frank Welker, and I wish I'd looked this up because I completely forgot to do so. But because Frank Welker does, he's like the go-to with voiceovers with like animals, machines. Like he's in like every movie ever that has like a growl or a monster or something. And those growls, I was like, oh man, I wonder if that's fucking Frank Welker. Frank Welker, Wonder Hour, if you're listening, was that Frank Welker? I don't know. That'd be interesting. I'd like to know, and I'm not going to look it up. So just email us battles at film times.
No.
Battles at filmfightspodcast.com. Let us know, man. Frank Welker.
Wasn't it weird when the Beast, the dog, let out the Howie scream? I was not expecting that.
No, it should have been the Goofy scream.
Yeah.
Because he's a dog.
Yeah, they made these, the kids made these really brilliant, complex contraptions to try and get over the wall. And I'm like, man, you're that good at that stuff and you can't fucking counterfeit a signature? You guys, what are you doing?
No, yeah, those contraptions must have, like, in fact, I'd like to think that that whole thing takes place over the summer, right? Mm-hmm. I'd say in May is when Smalls first started being friends with him. And then May 2nd, Benny broke the ball and they had to get the Babe Ruth ball. And then from May 3rd through September 1st was them trying to get the ball because it would have taken forever to build all of the vacuum pipes that they had to do.
And like the crane to lower him into the... It's remarkable. Yeah, and so I think it took from May 1st until they graduated from college with a degree in mechanical engineering.
Yeah. Well, like you could attribute like, oh, well, Smalls knew how to do erector sets. It's like, yeah, erector sets, not actual construction and robot building. Well, he did a little bit.
These days it'd be no problem. One of the kids would be like, yo, fam, I'm just going to slip the dog a Xanny bar and the dog's just going to vibe out. And then I'm going to grab my baseball. You know what? Wait a minute. Fuck it. I'm going to watch porn on Twitter.
Chill vibes.
Chill vibes. And then you take a selfie with the Beast chilling out, and you're like, oh, shit, that's the move.
What, the Dr. Huxtable move?
I just Dr. Huxtable this dog. Hashtag bring my baseball back. Hashtag whatever happened to that guy.
Later, fam. Yeah, so they so it turns out the spoilers. It turns out James Earl Jones is in the movie.
It turns out Darth Vader is the owner of the dog.
And oh wait, no, before we get to that, the Babe shows up. Not Pig in the City.
The talking pig known as Babe Ruth, the baseball player.
No, Babe Ruth, played by Art LaFleur.
Yeah,
who, I love him. He's great.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see him in this movie.
I forgot he was in it.
He's always good.
Yeah, and he's all like, you know.
Yeah, wow. That's impressive. One word impression.
He goes, heroes get remembered. No, wait, he goes, yeah, heroes get remembered. Legends never die. Follow your heart, kid.
And pictures on the internet last forever. So just remember that when you're starting your OnlyFans.
Yeah. Remember that when you say anything in high school, that anything you say will be remembered forever.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we grew up in a time where no one filmed all the embarrassing, cringy things that I did.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be alive today.
Yeah, I would have killed myself from embarrassment.
No, I would have done it because, like, oh, Jono, remember when you did something that was culturally inappropriate? Yeah, and it lives with me forever because I was 12 and didn't know better, all right? I know better now. That's the difference.
Remember when you were 12 and you sat on that whoopee cushion and we all laughed at you and then you actually peed yourself out of embarrassment?
That's the event I was talking about. You just outed me. I said I wouldn't talk about it.
You can't say outed. That's their word.
I'm sorry I farted. I shouldn't have.
No, you didn't, but it sounded like you did. It was pretty funny.
Oh my God, this is such a breakthrough.
I've been feeling guilty about that part all these years.
Guilt. Who's responsible? No, so James E. Germs.
Good old James E. Germs.
James E. Germs is a blind dog owner. Used to be baseball player. What do you call those? Ex-baseball players. You know, like when you say I'm an ex.
You call them was ball players.
Yeah. from the old days when baseball was interesting.
Before TV.
Before anything. I think baseball was around before fire. And once fire was invented, they were like, who fucking cares about
Hey,
baseball?
you guys want to come see Org and Ugg play baseball? Kind of into this cave painting right now.
I'm kind of into this wheel. They invented baseballs before the wheel.
Yeah. That wheel's a square. I know, it's so close.
And I'm glad we understand the difference. I got to invent architecture school before I can invent this.
Anyway, come over later. We'll have a Steg-o-Steak.
TM, we're mailing the podcast to ourselves, Steg-o-Steaks. When Jurassic Park happens and they invent dinosaurs, we already are going to have a restaurant.
Or, if you want to eat Spanish-style food tonight, we're going to have Triceratops.
Oh, my God. You got any more? God, all right, yeah, seriously, we're opening a restaurant, guys. It's going to be the Film Fights restaurant, and people are going to be so confused. What? This is a restaurant? I thought you sold DVDs.
Well, we do that also. Things are not going well for the restaurant side, if I'm being honest with you.
So, Jamesy Germs is, he's like, hey, look at me, I'm a dog owner. Check out my baseball shrine. Oh my God, me and your dad are the same. He's not my dad.
He comes out. Benny and the Jets and all the other kids have knocked down the fence, and they're in there with this very scary, adorable dog and getting their ball. And he's like, what's up with all that ruckus? I'm blind, not deaf. Like, we came to get our ball back. And he's like, everything the light touches is my kingdom.
Yep. And he's like, you can't be coming to America, Eddie Murphy. Yep, that's my go-to.
And so he's like, you could have just knocked on the door. Now come inside and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, come on in. Come into a stranger's home.
He's like, well, I'm sure nothing bad will happen. And so
it was the 60s.
It was the 60s. There weren't killers in the 60s.
Yeah, there weren't. You could just be like, hey, kids, come into my shack. Now, okay, I will say all the kudos to this wonderful man. He is a brilliant actor.
Oh, absolutely. I love James.
Even in such a small role in a kid's movie, I think his blind acting was superb. Like,
better than most people's seeing acting.
Well, he actually had like those special contacts that like blind you.
No, he's method, baby. He went straight up Oedipus Rex. He just stuck a sewing needle in both of his eyes, and he's like, I'm ready for this small role.
Yeah, his blind acting was better than like how actual blind people are in the world.
That's why he does voice work, and that's why he played a blind guy in an episode of Frasier also.
Did he?
He sure did.
Boy, see, I'm telling you, that movie did a lot for his career.
Are you ready to hear how nerdy I am? I know the name of that episode.
Oh yeah, give it to us. Is it Blind Guy?
It's Roz's Rosenstein and Cranston are dead.
You don't know it clearly.
I just can't remember what the name is of.
Oh yeah. Hey, you want to hear how
Goldenstein? That's it. Well, I couldn't remember what those names were, but I know what episode it is. I know what episode it is the point.
Yeah, I know what things are too. I just can't figure it out. It's the story of my life, man.
I need to boil these DVDs to remember them better, make a DVD stew.
Yeah. So James Earl Jones, he's all like, hey, I'm a guy. and he's like, yeah, I was super best friends with Babe Ruth, man. Me and him go way back. We used to put baseball cards of even older baseball players on our bikes until until I couldn't see him anymore. Until I ate shit one day and just fucking like baseball knocked my my sight out.
Oh yeah, Babe Ruth? Oh yeah. Oh, I know him. And he knew me. We used to bang a lot of girls together. Or maybe guys I couldn't see, so I'm just assuming.
Was Babe Ruth dead at the time? No, yeah, he was. He was a ghost.
At the time he was friends with James Earl Jones.
No, the time this movie came out.
Yes. That's why his ghost was in the movie in the 60s.
Well, I mean, movies fabricate stuff all the time, okay?
Oh, so he could have just been astral projecting. He wasn't
could've,
He
yeah.
was just, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
like,
mean, hey, I'm open to that.
I'm super best friends with Babe Ruth. I've got a baseball, his signature.
Was he Obama?
Yeah, I didn't mean to go into Obama.
So he's basically like, here, let me give you this baseball that was signed by everyone.
It's better than that stupid one my dog ate.
Yeah. He says, here, take this, and in exchange, I want you to come to my house every day.
He said, what is it, once a week?
I think he said every day. He said every day.
I just require 16 hours of your time each day.
To tell you about Amway. Now, if you set up a couple of sellers to sell the product, I don't know.
You're making profit before you know it.
That's right. James Earl Jones.
Here, can I feel your face, son? Oh, yeah, just as I thought. Oily skin, which could be solved with these Mary Kay products. I'm trying to get myself a gold Cadillac. Or a pink Cadillac.
Pink Cadillac.
Gold is if you get 3 pink Cadillacs, you can trade them in for one gold one. It's very heavy.
Oh, is that the trading standard?
Yeah, it's 3-to-1, regular to gold, pink to gold.
Pink to gold. But if you have 13 green Cadillacs, you get one half of a pink. That's how. I mean, I'm telling you.
I don't make up the color wheel, guys. That's just
no, or the exchange rate. That's for those wacky nerds in Congress. So let's talk about Wendy Peppercorn, can we? She
peppercorn,
peppercorn, yeah, or puffer. That's peppercorn, yeah.
Wendy Himalayan sea salt.
Wendy girl is a lifeguard, and all the boys are like, we can't play baseball, what can we do, let's go swimming. And they go swimming, and Squints has the hots for Peppercorn. Now there has to be a 27-year difference between them.
Yeah, she's a 40-year-old woman.
Yeah. and he's like, I got this, I'm gonna go drown myself so she can make out with me, which this is the third plot hole.
All right.
She goes and saves him, but a male lifeguard pulls him out. So why did he just go,
sexist,
let me just step aside and let the lady get to work, you know? Because Squints could have went with that guy. He could have had 9 children with him.
He might have discovered something about himself.
So he makes out with her, and she's like, you little pervert, and throws him out on his ass. And then he's like hanging out by the fence, and she's like, oh, you
little rascal. That was a hot kiss, though, we had.
I'm going to wait 5 years, and then we're going to have sex, because it was a different time. They could have sex at however age that would have made them.
Yeah. And they got married when he was 22 and she was 86.
And they had 17 children.
They worked real fast. They were Irish pregnancies, if you know what I'm saying.
Their words.
Their words. Squints is a traditional Irish name.
It is, because when you're
Squints McGints is.
When you're 17 beers in, you gotta you can't. That's the only way to look.
Well, I've had a vat of Guinness, and I've had a pot of whiskey. It's time for me to make love to this grandma who hasn't had kids yet.
Hot grandma. It's like a gilf.
Is there such thing as a gilf, a great grandmother?
Sure. Pornhub says there is. Pornhub says a lot of things, though.
That's true.
It's mostly about, QAnon.
I'm glad we made the decision to not be pervy about Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah, I'm glad we had that meeting before the show.
Oh, he was trying to give her a meeting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a little Vienna sausage.
Yeah, that's right.
Ew! Why would you say that? We either lost everyone or gained so many more followers. I'm here for it. I hope you guys are here for it, lovelies. Yeah, this movie is great. So, thousandth perspective. Yeah, I was great. Or impression. It was great. What is your first impression?
I mean, so first time viewing. Since I'm watching it in my mid 30s, and I never saw it as a
late
kid.
30s.
Mid 30s isn't just 1 year.
It is.
It's at least 3. You know, I have to take into consideration that I would have liked it better if I were younger and I wasn't watching it like as a bitter old fuck. So for me, really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. It's very silly. I got perspective on things people have been quoting to me my whole life. I was reminded how disgusting chewing tobacco is. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 bags of Big Chief chewing tobacco.
But I thought you said you hated chewing tobacco.
Okay.
So that means you hated the movie.
Yeah. I'll give it 4 out of 5 Angry Dog baseballs.
Angry dog, like
I'll give
the
it
baseballs?
4 out of 5 signed baseballs that you replace for your mean stepfather.
Oh my God, that's worth nothing.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, bud.
It's worth 98
That's
cents
the
per.
last rating system I'm trying for this one.
All right, well, you know what? I love this movie. I'm going all in. I'm going Maverick style. I'm all in.
Oh, so you're going like a worse Top Gun version.
No, Maverick with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I'm going, all right, I'm going Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon.
Oh, you're getting too old for this movie.
Okay, I think we're both struggling right now. I give it 5 out of 5. Way too big hats,
Okay, yeah, because they're useful if you're the son.
They are. If I had all 5 of those hats on, I'm covered, literally. And as it happens, we had a lovely spectator reach out to us about this very movie, coincidentally enough, by Wade Simmons out there. And he loved this movie as well. Judging from his message, I would say he also gives it 5 way too big hats.
Yep. Yeah, sounds like it.
As well. Particularly... he liked the lesson in it that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover because Mr. Myrtle was kind of mysterious and the kids had their own idea of him and the dog until they realized, hey, they were just a little mistooken. Is that the right word? Mistooken? That's my word, not yours, Wade. I am the mess up, not you.
And so thanks for reaching out to us, Wade. And so, hey, what do you folks think about The Sandlot? Maybe you should drop us a line. The correct email address is battles@filmfightspodcast.com. Also, make sure you pop on over to our social media, Film Fights Podcast on Insta and FB. And, I'd really appreciate it if you rated and subscribed wherever you're listening to us right now. And I hope you enjoyed the show.
The Sandlot is so great. It's a baseball movie. And I didn't get to mention this in the previous baseball because I got cut off by my lovely co-host here. But I wanted to talk about how baseball rules change from like game to game, league to league. And then baseball just in general is like, hey, what am I even doing?
Bye!
I'm going to open a bakery. I'm sorry, no, a butchery.
No,
that's a bakery, actually.
A bakery, but it's, hey, listen, everyone's trying to go keto and save carbs. You make breads and cakes. Just meat, though.
It's just meat.
Just meat.
Just meat. It's like served in a cone. Edible or not.
So what kind of meat is this? Meat.
It's just meat. It's all-purpose meat.
It's meat, guys.
We pull the handle. It just slooshes out like soft serve.
Oh my god! Another use for dare.
Oh yeah,
it's just meat.
Yeah.
Don't
make me tap the sign. Don't ask really ever.